Okay, hello everyone. Gonna do a bit of a walkthrough here on a bladed dive / mobile / double surge anti-clockwise Anachronia lap. I'm just going to talk through what I do, things you can do to optimize, I guess, and things you can do just to make a standard lap. I have Excel pots in my inventory. I'm not going to be using them. And yeah, we're going to get started. So from the southwest of the camp, you're going to jump down the wall. Optionally here, you can throw a surge in. It doesn't really do anything. Again, here, as you round the corner, you can throw another surge in. It saves like 1 tick each time, so it's like whatever. It's not that important. From here, you're going to bladed dive to the edge of this tree stump. So you want to literally aim for the end tile right by the vine, and then just click on the vine. This part's one of the more complicated, another blessing, one of the more complicated parts. So you're going to want to surge up to this log here, and what you want to do is click up here. Then as your character kind of rounds the leaf like that, you're going to hit surge and you'll end up here. The timing is super important. If you surge too early or too late, you will not end up here. You might just end up into one of the walls. I don't have an exact tile to click for this. It is purely just memory. So as you round the leaf, you hit surge and then you climb through the root. This part's also a bit of a timing part. So you're going to click on the cross vine, which will turn your character diagonally. You'll hit surge, which will put you about here. Now, if you try to bladed dive from here to the vine, you want to aim for this part here. You won't be able to make it because you're not on the proper trajectory. So you'll need to click the vine, which will move you like 2 tiles. So you want to be about here. And then you can bladed dive to the vine. I think it maybe is 1 more tile like that. This is the goal, right? So you want to end up at this part here. So I'll just go back. I think I clicked the vine, didn't I? I did. Fine, but you get the idea. So you want to surge, move, like wait 1 or 2 ticks, and then bladed dive to the vine. It's a tricky click, this one, because it's such a thin, finicky hitbox. Alternatively, you could just surge and then walk around and bladed dive, or you could surge bladed dive to like here or something, or here. But that's the optimal way. And then after that, you'll run around this corner. As you round the corner, you'll hit surge twice and jump down the cliff face. So this part here, we're going to use bladed dive. We're going to click on the tree, and then we're going to run around the corner. Once we've run around the corner, we are able to bladed dive to the jump spot, which is right here. I kind of look at it as this like darker line where my cursor is. So you're going to click, bladed dive to there, and it'll put you here, and you'll be able to cross the tree. This is the first part where you'll use a ground targeted click in order to angle your character diagonally. So what I typically do when I'm crossing the tree is find the tile by clicking on the ground, but it's about here. It's this tile here. So that won't work because I didn't do it right, but it's that tile, this tile in here. You can also click into the back rock here, which will work, but the exact tile is this one here. This moves our character in an L shape, so when I hit surge, I'll go off in a diagonal direction. You then click up, surge again, click on the cliff face over here, and then once your bladed dive is off cooldown, because the cooldown from this bladed dive is pretty much perfect with the timing on this one, you'll bladed dive to the front here. What you'll then do is I click down here, and as your character again turns the corner, you want to click surge, and you'll use 2 surges here to reach the ruined column. On this part here, we're going to use a bladed dive into a surge. So you want to bladed dive to about the edge of this flowery patch, but you want to be in line with the obstacle. If you just click bladed dive over here, you will not line up. You'll be on line with this like skull wooden pole thing. So you want to bladed dive to about here, like so, and then click the temple and surge. You can make that all happen in about 1 game tick. If you bladed dive, click, surge, the timing's a little finicky. It takes a bit of practice, but it does look very clean. So up the temple, this part's pretty straightforward. Just surge twice, and that'll put you at the top of this ramp. The best way to get down the ramp is you're going to want to bladed dive to just the tile next to this rock. So here. And then again, you're going to want to click down this little corridor and surge, which will get you to the ruins. The same thing as before, you can bladed dive, click, surge, all in the same game tick, and it works as long as you get the timing right. Okay, so this part, we're going to the rope over here. You again want to use an L turn to make your character face diagonally. So for that, you click on sort of this darky green bit here. So your character moves in an L shape, which means when you surge, you will go diagonally. And then you'll click the vine, your character will run around the corner, and then you'll bladed dive to the end of the tree stump. It can be a bit finicky if you miss this bladed dive, it actually loses you time. because you will either end up over here and there's like this invisible barrier here, or you'll end up over here and then you have to run around. So this one takes a little bit of practice. Very good bladed dive to learn. But you have to make sure you've like significantly come around this corner, because you can only bladed dive 10 tiles and you've got to be in range. From this vine to this vine, you will just surge twice. You can click to move forward between the surges. Doesn't really matter, but the 2 surges is quicker than just 1 surge and walking. Then you're going to bladed dive to the edge of this. So you line up with this sort of crease in the tree and you'll click below it. Puts you here, allows you to travel up the route. Then for this part, we're going to utilize a surge into an L-shaped path into another surge. So when you do this at full speed and you click the right tile, so what I'll do is I'll climb to the top of the tree. I'll have my cursor on this flowery patch here, and I'll have that right clicked on walk here. And as I get to the top, I'll hit surge and click walk here. And it makes you appear on this tile, but I'll go back and show you what's actually happening, because it's not exactly what's happening in the game. But the walk here is very important. So as you climb the route and you have your tile pre-selected, when you hit surge, your character will move forward and it puts you here. So now when you actually are clicking on this walk tile, you're doing an L shape, which points you down the ramp. So you can hit surge again, which puts you here, and then you can click the rock. Okay, so this part, bladed dive. Plain and simply, we didn't use bladed dive there, so we're going to use it now. And you want to line it up with about the end of this rock, this sort of grey part here, and just got to click in this gap. I think you can go hit like one more tile than this. I will try it, just for argument's sake. So there, no, you can't. So it's got to be this tile here. So just before this side, this east grey bit, you want to bladed dive to here, and then you're just going to run over and climb over the bones. Then you're going to manually walk around here by clicking on the vines and surge up this straight. And then you're going to surge down the ruins here. Okay, so for this part, there's 2 options. Well, there's 3. One uses the Excel pot, but I won't go into that. What you ideally want to do here is you can either barge off this Lampenflora, or you can just use bladed dive surge. If you manage to utilize the barge, you can have double surge for the top section here. But what I would probably do without it is you want to bladed dive in line with this track here and just next to this sort of flowery debris, something like that. That might be 1 tile too far north, so you probably want to be about here. And this will allow you to surge up the ramp. This is probably what I would do if I was to do that. And then you climb over. But I'll go back and show the barge strat, because I think it's a very good method to learn, because it does save you a lot of time on the straight up here. So what you want to do is you want to have ability queuing on. I think you can find that in the settings somewhere. I'm not gonna spend time going into it. What it allows you to do is that when you click an ability, you get this spinning wheel on your action bar, and this means the ability is queued to use as soon as it's available. In the case of barge, you need to be close enough to your target, and the Lampenflora here will be our target. With this dinosaur, it could be worth when you jump down to use anticipate. So ideally have that on your bar somewhere. If I have the right action bar on, which is this one, I have anticipate on C. As you see, I got stunned there and it would ruin my rhythm. And this is very much a timing exercise. So what I would do is, as I'm jumping down here, I would ideally have barge already pre-queued from earlier on. But if you jump down here, what you can do is you want to anticipate, click barge, and then click on the Lampenflora. And as your character kind of comes around the bend here, it has to be done in a very swift motion, but what you're going to do is your character will start the barge animation. It's a bit timing based. You will like get a feel for it, and then as soon as your character starts that barge animation, you want to bladed dive to the top of these 4 like tiles, but you want to be like, as you can see that yellow click there, it's on the left of the tile. So as you're running towards the Lampenflora, you'll pre-select bladed dive onto about here. As soon as your character starts the animation, you click activate, brings you up here, and then you can click up here and climb over the block. It's a tricky one, well worth learning, and it's a lot of fun. And that means that when you're up here, you have your double surge up to get to the vine. Probably the most complicated part of the anti-clockwise strat without using Excel pots. So once up here, bladed dive very simply to the next vine. And then you're going to surge down the roots. From here, you're going to bladed dive to the end of this log. It's kind of a bit of a finicky hitbox. It's about here. I try to aim for sort of the the main curve down here of the route, and then you're going to climb over. From here, we're going to utilize NPC turning. So when you left click and talk to an NPC, your character will turn to face that NPC. This allows us to line up a surge over to this big block. So once you click the NPC, you wait 1 tick, and then you can surge. Pretty much as soon as you see your character turn, you can hit surge and it works. So for here, we're going to use a surge bladed dive. If you're doing this flawlessly, your bladed dive will have a 1 tick delay before it's up. So I'll show you what I do in that instance. You will click the sunken column. As you round the thing here, you'll hit surge, which puts you about here. And then you can click bladed dive here. So I'll show you it at full speed just to see how it looks like and how I do it. So you click the column, you line up the bladed dive, use surge, bladed dive, and you're there. And then you can cross over. So now we want to cut this big corner. This is a huge time sink having to go around, and ideally we don't want to have to use 2 movement abilities. To do this, we're going to need a spell, ideally a lunar spell, because it seems to have a better tick delay. It's probably got something to do with the type of spell, but for this instance I'm using Disruption Shield. You can also use Vengeance, is a very good one. You can also obtain Vengeance if you don't have lunars, so this is skiller friendly. Well, it's not skiller friendly, they need Surge, but you can get this from Demonheim if you haven't done Lunar Diplomacy. But what you're going to do is when you... Well, to explain first, when you use a spell but you don't have the runes for it, you get a lovely error message, right? You get this, you're not using the correct spellbook. If you happen to have red-clicked an obstacle before you do this action, it will actually turn you to face the obstacle that you clicked on. So if I click the route here and then press Disruption Shield on my toolbar, you see how my character turned. I'm now looking towards the route. So this obviously is very powerful for this section. What you want to do is run forward about 2 tiles, like that, and then click your Disruption Shield, and then you can click Surge, and it cuts the entire corner. Again, very useful to learn. If not, I would just use a single Surge and then just run around here, because for this part, we're going to want to Surge Bladed Dive up to the vine. So you're going to pre-select your Bladed Dive at the top of the vine here. You're going to hit Surge, you're going to hit Bladed Dive. You can do it in the same action, and then you're at the top of the vine. For this part, because you've just used Surge Bladed Dive, you should have no abilities of cooldown. Yeah, I think you have 1 Surge, but what you're going to want to do here is just click the vine to start running. Again, a bit timing based. As you cross this sort of brown route here, you're going to want to click Bladed Dive up to the top of the vine. So as you cross, Bladed Dive up to the top and cross over. 2 options for this next section. The most efficient way and the easy way. So you can either just surge, and it will, again with the action delay, it will kind of do this. So you'll go surge, and then you'll do that, and you kind of like look like you're cutting the corner, but actually you're surging to here and then walking. The most efficient way, again, will utilize a Venge turn. So as you cross the log, you will surge. I need to turn around. Okay, perfect. I'll try to just cross the vine again. But you're going to surge. You're going to wait 1 tick. You're going to hit. You're going to have the red clicked on the vine, and then you're going to click Disruption Shield, which will turn you to face the vine, and then you surge up. Important after you click Disruption Shield to not click the vine again, or your character will return. So this is how this looks like. So cross the vine, surge, red click, Disruption Shield. So you want to be on this tile when you turn, and then you can just surge up here and cross. And then very simply, next step, Bladed Dive over to here, which is the next obstacle. For this part, because there's 2 tiles between this and the line, you're going to surge, click the temple, and surge again. And it lines you up nicely and uses both of your surges. Here we're going to use Bladed Dive to this part. And then now for the next part, it's important not to use any movement ability, so you're just going to walk across this gap. And then you're going to surge to the end of the temple. And jump down. So now what a lot of people might do is use 1 surge or 1 Bladed Dive here, which means you have to walk 2 tiles, Bladed Dive or surge to the cliff. You can do this in 1 action using both surge and Bladed Dive. So you're going to aim your Bladed Dive. There's this like dark crease here. You're going to aim it just in front of that. So there, and then that allows you to surge, and then you're in front of the cliff face and allows you to climb up. Manually walk to the beginning of the bone bridge. And then we're going to use a Bladed Dive onto the top of this vertebrae here, in the like dark crease. So we're just going to click there. That allows us to cross the spine. And then at the end of here, we're going to surge and traverse the bone. At this point, Bladed Dive and surge will come off cooldown. So we're going to use our Bladed Dive at the top part of this rock here. So we're going to click here. And then we're going to use surge here, and it brings us to here. At this point, we're going to then run over, and we're going to wait for the red click on the temple to come available. This will allow us to target it. And then as soon as you're on this diagonal, you want to use surge when it's off cooldown. Again, the timing can depend. If you're pretty efficient, your surge cooldown might be available here. If you're not so efficient, your surge cooldown might be available here. Just do what works best for you. And then once you've crossed this part, you're going to surge to the temple. From this part, we're going to surge, run around the corner, bladed dive. If you bladed dive as you surge, this mountain cliff is in the way and your character won't go anywhere. So it's important you run around the corner. So we're going to surge, bladed dive. And it brings us up to this temple perfectly. From here, we're going to surge. This puts our surge on cooldown. We're not going to surge on this part because we're going to need surge in a second. And then what you can do, there's two methods to this. You can either bladed dive here, or you can bladed dive over here. I prefer this one because this grey tile allows me to line up exactly what I want to do. But what I want to do is I want to bladed dive, walk one tile diagonally, surge to the log. For this one, you have to bladed dive, click over here and surge. This one might be easier, actually. I mean, you could try this. So you want to click behind the torch and then click the root and surge. But the other one that I'm talking about is this one. Wait for the bladed dive cooldown to come back. So you're going to bladed dive to here, which is on this part of the grey square. You're going to manually path to this tile and hit surge. And it brings you to the root. Actually, I'm now thinking that the torch one is better. So yeah, maybe try the torch one. So bladed dive to just in front of the torch and then go that way. Because we didn't surge here, we now have surge available here. So very small time save, I guess. And then we also have a surge here. And simply bladed dive over to here. And then we're going to surge to the cliff face. And then we're going to climb up the cliff. You can also do a mini surge here if you wanted to save a couple of ticks. And there you go. There is one anti-clockwise lap of Anachronia. My personal best with this exact method, including the Lampenflora barge, is 5:06. So not bad. You can easily get around 5:30 laps consistently doing this with a little bit of slack, which is what we love to see. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Hopefully you learned something, and I hope to see you running some fast laps soon.